Welcome to Heart Chat Show. I am Lady Ajua. Heart to Heart is the chat show. We talked about various topics and conversations across, the whole world, across trending fillers, social issues, relationships and sex, health and well-being, and all things convo. And so welcome. Today I have two amazing people right here on the hot seat. I am Nana Kwame, who is an educationist, and a Precious Isaacin Obaseke, who is a well-being coach, health and well-being coach. She's also the founder of Intentional Women's Group. And these two have been married for a while, so they have quite a good experience when it comes to relationships and marriages. So today we are going to be talking about serial cheating. So, when you are dealing with the aftermath of an affair. Now, what I say is that a lot of people have entangled themselves in, some kind of relationships, emotional and physical affairs, but how do you deal with the situation? How do you deal with the aftermath of that relationship? But before we go on, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, also follow us on Instagram. It's Heart to Heart Chat Show. Go on Facebook and like our page. Again, it's Heart to Heart Chat Show. And you can find me on Twitter at Tips from Ajua. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. So welcome.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be, delving into certain conversations that we don't normally talk about. But I think that Heart to Heart is a show that we are going to be talking about all things. No bars hold or anything like that. We're gonna just feel free and talk about things. So today we want to talk about serial cheating. How do you deal with the aftermath of an affair? Now, I have a story here that I want to read, and then we can go into it. Is a real life story, so we're going to read it. She says that my husband has been cheating on me for most of our 22 years together. We have almost split twice over the last 4 years, if not for our 3 children. I know he's cheating again, as I found emails on his work computer. I cannot confront him outright, as I should not be on his work email. So I'm at loss, but I have had enough of this, and he's saying sorry and I won't hurt you again, only to be duped again. He lies to my face, and the last affair was almost 2 years ago, before she moved away, and now he has a new one and looking for more. Yes, he is a serial cheater. That is fairly obvious. Will he ever change? What should I do? So we will be dealing with that because, it is a real life issue, and, this person would be interested in what our conversation brings out of this so that he can make an informed decision as to what to do. So who and what is a serial cheater?
Serial, it comes from a word whereby it's like there's a pattern, consistency. And so it's someone who has got a pattern in cheating and has consistently been doing that for a long time and has got his ways, or is now used to a pattern whereby he's undetected, or kind of like, he has a flow already in place in getting that done, or that kind of a behavior,
Yeah.
being brought out. And that's why I'm going to say this, but I think I would just leave it to the other questions. I won't want to jump in, so that when the other questions come in, I can be able to kind of...
Now, what is the difference between someone who has had multiple affairs and a serial cheater?
I think with a serial cheater, I think it's when they're kind of much more in a pattern already in doing it, and they already
Right.
have their ways of getting that done. Whereby multiple affairs, I would say, is kind of it's just opportunity comes and he's
They take
easily
advantage
lured
of it.
into it, and consistently, maybe if you put yourself in such a situation, you kind of repetitively get yourself, entangled.
Now, Kwame, what's your thoughts on this?
The word cheat means you have 2 or more relationships going at the same time. All right.
Yes.
So we need to kind of look at it that way. So somebody who has two or more love relationships going on at the same time. And an affair means the same. An affair is having two or more relationships going on. Because if you are married and you're having an affair,
Yeah.
you are married, you have a relationship, and
Yeah.
you're having an affair, another relationship. So it makes it two.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So an affair to me is a standalone event.
Right.
Something that happens randomly.
Okay.
It's not planned and just happens and can stop and will go away and will never happen again. Does that make sense? Whilst serial cheater is somebody who, for one reason or the other, just happens to like. I don't even want to say like or have. It's really a weird one, but having multiple relationships at the same time.
So would you say that serial cheater is actually an addiction because they're addicted to that?
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So in a way, it's different from having like a classic affair, because I'm thinking a classic affair is when you're married, but you have this one person that you're in a long-term kind of relationship with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally, and again, I think follow-on questions will kind of delve deeper
Yeah.
and allow us to look at the circumstances that I would say make someone become.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think anybody is born that. You become that.
Wow.
But
That
we
is
will
a
talk
really
about
good
that.
one.
But we'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
Okay. So you become that. You're not born with that. Okay. It's not hereditary.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's a behavior.
It's a behavior
yeah.
pattern.
Behavior, yeah. So
Right. So can someone who is a constant cheater, having affairs here, there, and there, do you think they can ever stop? Do you think that there can be a point where they can actually get reformed and decide that
yes.
I am not? Because
yeah.
there isn't this adage that says that, a madman, even when they get, better, there's that little tiny madness in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It actually, I can link that to being a serial cheater. Do you think that someone who's cheated several times in the past?
Yes, of course, they can. Because number one, we have to identify that change comes from you. So as a serial cheat or as a cheat, you have to be willing to change. So that when you do get such opportunity, or you kind of prevent yourself from having, such opportunity as well, you can be able to take them on. Because it's a behavioral change that cannot be enforced. It has to be accepted by you. You have to acknowledge that you have the issue and the problem, so you can then be able to, I would say, is it kind of meticulously, go with the boundaries you set, with the different kind of options you've set to be able to stop yourself from doing it. But I wouldn't say no, never, never. You can be able to change, but it comes from you, and it's a very, very hard work. It's not something that comes easy because you're changing the behavior. So it's going to take a while, to get yourself to a place whereby you can say comfortably that, okay, yes, I cannot be tempted. But for you to get to that part, you have to have kept or put things in place to prevent you from doing that.
So in this lady's situation, what would you tell her to do, or what advice would you give her? Because I think she's in a limbo and she's confused because this thing keeps happening. However, she's thinking of a 22-year of marriage.
I think you need to go back to the beginning.
Right.
And I think that is where sometimes couples get it wrong.
Right.
Is before you are married. The before moment is crucial, because that tells you the normal behavior of whoever you're going to get married to.
Right.
The normal behavior.
Yeah.
Where did you meet them? Did you meet them in a club? Then there are people who club. Where did you meet them? Did you meet them at church? Then there are somebody who goes to church. Or did they? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes we ignore that. It's like marrying a smoker and trying to stop them from smoking. No, you can't do that.
Yes.
it's kind of too late. As I said. So I think sometimes we need to go back to the very beginning and ask her when she met, where did she meet him? When she met him, what did he have numerous girlfriends? And she just happened to be the best, and so he married her.
Yeah, but then that could also be difficult because not everyone will disclose the kind of affairs that they've had, even when you're having a conversation.
Which is why a good way, the Bible talks about it, the Quran talks about it, society talks about it. If you can, you court without any sexual relationship. You court.
Yeah, it was right. You know, back in the day, it was possible.
And there was a reason. Yeah, but you see, this is the bit where we forgo the discipline, and then we want the discipline back. You can eat your cake and then have it. So if you are not willing, the two of you, to show each other that you are disciplined, you see, there's a lot of issues that come around marriages or relationships, but the most devastating one is cheating. So we need to look at that separately. The rest you can deal with. And what I mean is, if somebody is not disciplined enough to not have a sexual relationship with you for a period of time before they marry you, there are warning signs there straight away. That
But you know that sometimes some people might, you know, they probably weren't even like that before they got married. And then while they're in the marriage, you know, maybe at work, the husband and the wife has a little problem, and at work there's this fine lady who turns the head, you know, to give him a bit more attention, and they get attracted to each other, and then boom, something happens.
Would that be an affair?
You see, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, you know, one thing, what I have realized that when you do it once, you're able to do it a lot more times.
We can debate that.
That's debatable. But I think there's one thing I need to kind of bring out there is that in her kind of situation, I understand what you're saying is that, okay, they've been married for 22 years and definitely this has been going on for a long time, and she should have seen this kind of pattern. And they still went along, or she still went along in doing it. But her situation right now is kind of like a needy one. She needs help. So for me, I can't personally tell her what to do, but there's one thing she needs to recognize is that, first of all, she has to start thinking of how she can actually take care of herself. You understand? To actually, because the affair situation in getting resolved is not a one person's thing to do. It's a together something. So she has to start asking or bringing a conversation. Is he willing to change? Is he willing to, you know, make the marriage work? Because those answers will definitely now give them or give her the comfort or the kind of answer she's looking for.
It looks like they've had those conversations, because from what I pick here from her email here, she has said that I've had enough of this, and he's saying sorry, I won't hurt you again.
So
it looks like they've been having this conversation over and over again, and he says sorry, but then he goes back to do the same things.
And she needs, I think, it's still the same. She has to make a decision and draw a line of when and when not to, and also make the decision based on her own well-being and the well-being of her kids. You understand? Because
now, Tommy, we were going to say something.
I mean, it is a complicated one because
it is,
because we are not in there, so we cannot actually know the day-to-day ongoings of the relationship. But the question is, why is he doing it? I think that I mean, you know, some people do it for different reasons, and until we know the reason, maybe that particular reason is not evident in their relationship, which is why he goes, you know, I kind of have a saying that when you are full, you know, I have a son, and sometimes he will be snacking everywhere. And I always say this: when you are full, we've eaten a very good meal and you're full, and they bring you the most delicious meal of your liking, you can still not eat it, or you don't even feel for it.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
you're
you're full.
And I think that is key.
Right.
When you are not full, you will snack all the way around. And you keep, and that kind of little thing can, and so what I'm saying is, if there is something in their relationship, and it can be anything, which is he is not happy about,
Yeah.
and that's also key, he is not happy about, then that becomes the excuse. I'm not saying reason, because reason means it's a good thing. No.
No.
It becomes the excuse
Yeah.
for him to do what he does, to justify it for himself.
Yes.
So I think one of the conversations they should have, if she's bold and if he's willing, is for him to tell her why he does it.
Right. That
take
is
it
a
out.
tricky one.
Yeah, no, but if
Yeah,
you're
but-
not willing
but-
to open,
But for
Go on.
healing to take place, one of the tools or one of the things you need to do is communication.
That's right.
So there has to be communication one way or the other at some point or the other.
Because my thought sometimes I'm thinking, if you know that you cannot be in a relationship that is a monogamy kind of relationship, why are you in why are you messing somebody up?
I think it's more complicated than that. You were saying we both agree that you are not born that,
Yes.
but I think genetically men are probably more inclined to do it. Although the data shows that women also do it, but
Oh, yes.
women get away with it.
Oh, yes.
Let me put it out there.
I'm not sure if they get away with
This is
it.
me against two. There's no way I'm gonna win this one. So I'm not even going
I don't
there.
think they get away with it.
I will, retract it a bit.
No, I think that they know how to cover their tracks
Oh,
well.
there we go. But,
They just manage the truth.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
but you can say it both ways as well. You
No,
have
men-
men that
men
can
are
cover
rubber.
themselves
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, what I was trying to say is, if you go back into history, men have always been allowed to marry more than one.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
A lot of traditions, some religions allow a man to have multiple
Yeah.
wives, legally, wives. Does that make sense? And you can trace that back anyhow you want. But that, to me, signifies, even in the Bible talks about prostitution.
Yeah.
And for me, that is key. The Bible is trying to tell us that men have a need. And that need somehow is even acknowledged in the Bible.
Yeah, but women have a need as
Oh, no,
well.
I know. I'm not. But the Bible does not give us a man version of a prostitute. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, right.
What I'm trying to say is why is that side of it recognized, but not the other side? All I'm trying to point to is that I think men are more likely, probably less disciplined. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
To fall into that.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I would say it is true though, because I will say that a lot of men who cheat don't really have the justification to cheat. Whereas for a woman, I think these days it's slightly different. But in the past, for a woman to cheat, it meant that she was needing something. She lacked something in that relationship. It's probably because of the way the man was treating her, etc., etc. So it kind of makes sense.
I mean, I don't know whether you both agree. I don't know whether there is a research on it or a writing on it or whatever. But a man can easily, I believe, again, can be proved, but a man can easily have a sexual relationship with anybody, a stranger, any day, anyhow,
Yes.
whenever. That is why that's why prostitution is there. Because you don't know the person you're going to.
Yeah, you just
and
go
then the
in.
man is able to go and fulfill themselves. Whilst I think what you are trying to say is for a woman to have that type of a relationship,
Yeah.
She must have
there
going in.
must be something.
Exactly.
Women don't just do
it,
that,
Yeah, but
which throws the likelihood to and maybe we don't know. Maybe for men, our excuse for doing it is for finding a fault
Yes.
to do it.
Yes.
If you get what I mean. So we by nature, assuming by nature, we like doing it. As you said, we struggle to justify it, and we
Yeah.
need to find a fault. And once
Oh,
we
you've put
find
on
a
too much
fault-
weight, so I'm not having sex with
whatever
you.
the fault is,
Oh, you've
and
done
then-
this, I'm not having sex with you. And
I
then
think
that's-
that is where it comes down to. When it comes to healing yourself, you have to bring it down to yourself, because to be honest, in situation like this, as you said, there's always an excuse for reasons behind why
you
cheated.
did it. Yeah.
You know, so you have to bring it down to yourself individually to care for yourself and take care of yourself personally, because mentally you're being distraught, physically, emotionally you're being distraught.
Yeah.
So for you to start getting healing, is start to take care of yourself to ensure that mentally, physically, spiritually you're guarded. You understand? You're strong to be able to, because these patterns of cheating and consistently cheating leads to different kind of illnesses. To be honest, it
Yeah.
does lead to different kind of illnesses, and at times it could lead to suicide as well.
Yeah.
So, and also it leads to a lot of emotional distress for the kids if there are children involved. So I think we have to look beyond just kind of like, consistent forgiveness, and begin to move into a state of actually healing, you know, or making a change. And the two parties has to be willing to do that. And if not, if the two parties are not willing to, this is where you make a very hard decision for yourself on what you really want for yourself and your kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's,
So
do you stay
yeah.
or do you
Yeah.
do
you
you
move on?
Yeah. It's a difficult one though, especially if you've been in a relationship for that long, 22 years. It's like you're moving out. If you want to move on, you're thinking, has that 22 years been wasted?
But But is it because we put too much weight on relationships?
I think so.
But that is another conversation, I think, for another
I
day.
actually think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming down to the person who cheats a lot, that serial cheater, what can they do to eliminate some of the conditions that makes them cheat, that drives them to that point?
I'm laughing because do they want to?
Because
stop?
someone would say, oh, maybe I want to stop, but something, it's just like someone who likes drinking. Say, I want to stop, but the moment I saw this whiskey, maybe I just got
What do
attracted
they
to it.
say if it's a drink? First of all, you have to declutter your home from the drinks.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to stop or take yourself away from opportunities that make you go into such behavior. If it's something to do with work, or maybe you find a pattern that you keep having affairs with your work colleagues, is actually taking yourself away from opportunities whereby it's just you and your other female partner, being alone at a certain time or going out for lunch. You have to take yourself completely away from that. If it's kind of like due to peer pressure from friends, because you have friends that cheat, or you guys go out and they have times whereby they just want to ball or do whatever they want to do, you have to take yourself away from such situation. So these are physical kind of gradual things you have to start putting in place, so that it doesn't give you such opportunity to come or to bring yourself into such a vulnerable
Indeed.
state.
But then the question is, do they want to?
Yeah,
So
but for
they
you
need
to
to-
do that,
yeah.
you should know that
They
you
need
want
to because
you know?
sometimes they don't want to do it for themselves, but they think, okay, because I'm hurting you, I'm going to do it for you. But then
Yeah.
that can be dangerous.
Yeah, it has to be from yourself.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, you kind of pointed out that it is very obvious that whoever thinks it's a problem, it's for some people it's no problem. For some people it's part of their lifestyle, and that's it, and they are
Wow.
not going to change.
Yeah.
That's it. They won't change it. It's only when that person realizes that it is a problem. And if it is a problem, then it must have consequences.
Yeah.
And if it has consequences, then it's the consequences that is going to stop them from doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you are in a very demanding job, for example, Monday to Friday, or you're a doctor, you're on call anytime. I remember my car being broken down one day, and an AA guy came to take it to the garage, and he said something. He said, and I don't know whether that is still true, that in the AA they do blood tests, alcoholic tests.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, regular.
Yeah.
Right,
We do it. I have
Regularly.
job just as
And
well.
therefore, even if he wants to drink, he can't drink.
Yeah, because you don't know when
Good.
they'll do it.
And the consequences of him being caught is he loses his job.
Yes.
Which pays. Do you get me? So there are consequences, and because of those consequences, he will not drink because even if he wants to, he is scared of the consequences.
Exactly.
So whatever your problem is, if the consequences really don't hurt you, then what is the motivation for you to stop doing it?
And I
Yeah.
think that's where you get this pattern whereby in marriages, or as she likely said, that she's forgiven several times, and he keeps doing it consistently over and over again. Is he going to change now? I'm sorry to say, the pattern is there already, because as you said, there's consequences, and
Yeah.
he's not getting the consequences
He's not
that
feeling
does
the
hurt. So definitely,
He's not feeling
there's
the
no
pain.
reason
Yeah.
for him,
He's
because
not
he's
feeling
heard
the
that
pain.
already before. It's like a child. You're telling, if you do this, this is the consequence, and it never happens. He's gonna think that you're just joking, or it's one of those talks. So I think you have to draw a line to what exactly is acceptable by you. But before that is done, you have to let him know or communicate what is and what is not acceptable.
That's right.
You understand?
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
So the important question: how do you deal with the aftermath of these kind of extramarital affairs, the broken trust, the hurt? How do you deal with it, and how do you start your healing process?
Well, it takes a while for the
It's a
healing.
difficult one.
Yeah, it's a long process for healing. And as I tell people, is that you have to give yourself, the opportunity to heal, and you have to be very, very, very soft or forgiving to yourself. Sorry, you have to be
Right.
very forgiving to yourself, because whatever has happened in the past is the past. The past is not going to define your future. It only just helps you or gives you strength to be able to carry on in the future. So for that, you have to come to a place whereby you're able to forgive yourself. You're able to realize that it's the past. It's going to take a long time to heal, and give yourself that opportunity to be able to heal. One day or the next day might not be the same, the way you feel, or something might trigger a situation. So you have to understand that there are things that are going to happen in the future that might trigger this, things to come up, or emotions to flare up again for you. So I think what you then begin to do is looking for situations or things you can actually do to cope when these things happen. So you know exactly how to, progress your healing. And it's a kind of two-way thing. So if it's a two-way, you guys are still together in the relationship, and now you're going through the healing process, he or she has to be very, very, very willing to support the other party in their healing process as well. Because the way I heal might not be the way you heal.
Yes.
I might say something now that might trigger something. So you have to be willing to understand that it's coming from a place of hurt. And the way I react to her will determine whether it takes her back there completely, or it helps her move forward. So it's kind of, you have to give yourself and allow yourself that, yes, we're going to make mistakes. Yes, I'm going to one day maybe slip up and say, oh, but you did that at the other time.
Yes.
It might not be, I really mean it, but it's just the hurt I still feel. So as a partner, you should be able to support me, to get me to be able to move on from that.
Yeah.
So I think, and also I would always advise, when it comes to that healing, you have to have their help everywhere, as I always say.
Okay.
You have relationship counselors that you can just keep going through with them. Not just that because you've settled now, you kind of stop going. It's a continuous process.
Yeah.
You have to keep going so that you grow together towards the healing process. And there's so many things I can actually say when it comes to doing that, but it takes a lot of work.
It does.
The key point here, you have to give yourself that opportunity to forgive yourself and allow yourself feel the moments and the hurt, and then build mechanisms that could help you go to the near future of healing, your tomorrow, and how you heal yourself.
Amazing. Interesting. Now, Kwame, now, is it okay for someone to withhold sex from this partner that has been cheating?
As part of the forgiving process,
Yeah.
yes.
Because it's not because you're punishing them,
Yeah.
but because you feel so hurt that you just don't feel connected to that person.
I think there is, and again, it is a learning, it is a knowing, and it doesn't come natural to men. And I think sometimes men need to acknowledge that a woman can give themselves to you,
Yeah.
make love to you, a woman can have sex with you. There's two different things there.
Yeah.
And if your wife says, I cannot make love to you because you've hurt me,
Yeah.
you need to understand that. You, the man, you want sex. No, that is a different, sex and lovemaking are two different things. And I think in marriage is more lovemaking
Yes, it
than
is.
sex.
Exactly.
So as part of that healing process, if your partner, be it the man or be it the woman, says, I need time to rebuild my confidence, I need time, and these are the things we need. So it's about having you see, this is where it goes funny, because the man or the woman will not tell the other partner, this is what I'm going to do because of what you've done. They don't say it.
Yeah.
They go into bed or whatever, the man wants it, and the woman says, no, you're not having it. You see, there has not been any communication.
Okay.
Make it clear to them, this is what is going to happen. So that when they come to bed, they don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Because they know they are being punished. It's like I know children are children. But if you tell your child, if you do A, I'll take your phone away as a consequence. And they've done A, and you take the phone away and you make it clear to them, this is why I've taken my phone away. Rarely would they try and go and take the phone back.
Yes.
Rarely. But if you just snatch the phone away from them and put it away, and you don't tell them why you've snatched it away, they're going to come and ask you why.
Yeah.
So I think it's a yes, but it must be communicated.
Yeah,
That's important.
it's a tricky one though, because I'm also thinking, 1 minute, Precious, I'm also thinking that how long are you going to withhold sex from that person? Because the longer that you do, are you not also trying to push him back to where?
But that is where I would say,
Yeah.
for me, I wouldn't advise that, because in
You're all being very
relationship,
liberal.
no, because in relationship, sex is actually needed to be able to build that intimacy, and that gets you to that kind of when you say love making. For we women, we can actually say, oh, love making and sex, and actually distinguish that. We're just giving it to you because we're giving it to you. But when we kind of say, okay, we're making love to you, that's kind of emotionally, it's different for us, But withholding sex, to me, can actually even bring much more, cheating and things to come.
I'm not disputing what the two of you are
No,
saying.
but I even though I agree with Precious a little bit, I still have my reservations, because I am a woman. I'm an emotional being. I get hurt. And when I am hurt, I don't want anything to do with sex. So, it is okay to withhold, sex. That's what I think. It's my opinion. It's okay to withhold sex for a little bit, because you're trying to communicate how you feel to the person.
But withholding it without communicating why you're withholding it.
Obviously,
I think your point
yeah.
where you made was that at least make a communication first.
You have to make them aware.
Obviously, you need to talk to him about it. Yes,
it's being deprived.
But my question is, how long are you going to? Is it 2 months, 1 month, 1 week?
Let me make it. To me, it's a really easy decision making.
Okay.
I don't see the problem there. When you're married, or when you have a serious relationship, there are unwritten rules.
Yeah.
And one of the unwritten rules is you cannot go and have another sexual relationship or whatever. It's an unwritten rule. Nobody needs to tell you that. Society even believes in that.
Yeah.
It's unwritten. Now, when you are the one who is in the wrong, I'm sorry, you don't dictate how long the punishment goes for.
Thank you.
You cannot dictate.
Thank you. I think people that are listening needs to actually take this into consideration, because sometimes they're thinking, oh, but you've punished me for 1 week is enough.
No, you don't dictate. It's for the person who's been wronged
Yeah.
to have that full healing.
Yeah.
Because we all know what happens to injuries if they don't heal properly.
Thank you. Thank
Do
you.
So and it all comes down to discipline.
Yes.
And for me, that is key. The word discipline. Without discipline, nothing can go on for a long time.
I'm actually glad that you actually brought that into light, because I've had people who've said, oh, but I've said I'm sorry, I've apologized to her, that I'm sorry, so it needs to be squashed, we're done, I've apologized to her, we need to move on. How far is, or how long do you need that healing before you move on?
But at the same time though, Adwood, I'm not disputing the fact that you don't have to do that. But are we coming to say that when you do deprive your partner from sex for a very long time or however long, whereby it's not kind of acceptable to your partner, you have to dig deep and think about what the consequence could be.
But then
You have to look into it, except you're both ready.
No, but he or she also needs to understand that there was a consequence in their behavior.
So I think that is where communication needs to actually be so raw. Because when you're vulnerable to each other and you do communicate such that, okay, your partner, because you do have some men who, when they don't have sex, or you have women as well, when they don't have sex. So you do have people like that, whereby because it's a natural kind of feeling. It does happen. So now you're depriving me from being or actually being
satisfied.
Being satisfied, and whereby I'm married to you, and we are saying you should stop cheating.
Yeah, so but then the thing is, if you're married to me, why did you go and cheat in the first place? And when you were cheating, you knew that it comes with consequences.
That is where forgiveness has to come in, Adwoa.
Wow.
That is where forgiveness has to come in, because I know already you've been hurt.
Yeah.
You're bitter. So that is where I would say, and I said it at first time, was that you have to think about it, that it is about you. You have to heal. You have to forgive yourself. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And by the time you start to do that, you realize that you can easily, move on without just depriving your partner from sex. You can. It's going to take a while, but you can do that because you started to put things in place and you started to create a mindset for yourself. And giving yourself that forgiveness, and also forgiving your partner that he's willing to work with you, and you can see him working with you as well.
So
it's going to help.
So two ways I'll kind of look at what you're trying to say. Nobody, or people can always try. It's like people can always try and say, "Oh, I know how you're feeling." Sorry, you don't. Okay, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Because we all feel different things different ways.
That's
because
right.
of nurture. Yes?
Yeah.
So one, you cannot tell me, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm not gonna do it. Nah, forget that. Right? For me, forget that.
Yeah.
Number two, from the story we've been given, the real life story, he's said sorry before.
So many times.
So, do you agree with us that anytime he says sorry, we extend the...
Of course, because...
But you can see what I'm going with.
Yes, send the punishment.
we push it further. But what I'm trying to say is, it's individual, isn't it? I can forgive in a day. You can forgive in a month. You might probably take a year.
Yeah, everyone has.
But I think the key, what we are trying to say, which is the core of everything we're trying, is that no matter how painful it is, there must be a honest conversation where you sit and you actually have a conversation.
Amazing.
About it. And he should be willing and brave enough to tell you why he did it.
Yes. Yes, okay. Amazing, interesting conversation about cheating. So, your final words, if there's someone out there who is going through the same situation as this lady that sent the email, what would you tell them? How should they deal with it? How should they confront the person that has cheated, and what do they do?
For me, because it's a pattern and there's so much, and it's been going on for so many years, and now you've got kids, and it's never been kind of put to a stop. It's just consistently happening. I can tell you exactly what you need to do, but there's one thing I can say is that you need to make a decision for yourself.
Okay.
And ask yourself, is your partner, you both willing to still make the relationship work? It's not a one person doing, it's the both of you. So if you are both willing to make it work and stay in the relationship, then I think you need to start creating boundaries. You need to start putting in the work to actually prevent such situation from happening, and also allow yourself to forgive each other, allow yourself to heal no matter how long it takes, and understand that the way I hurt or the way he hurts is actually different, and appreciate your differentiation. But in a case whereby it's kind of not willing to, or is the one person wanting the relationship to work, for me, it's I've not seen a relationship that exists or works well whereby it's only one person putting the effort into it. It's one day going to break. So it's a decision that is going to come personally based on what the real life situation is right now.
Now, Kwame.
What I will add to what you've said is, if they draw the boundaries after the first instant has happened, and they've sat down and they've had that chat and they've drawn them, they must come up with the next step.
Okay, yes.
What most people don't do is they talk about it and they say, I won't do this, I won't do that, No. If you should do it again, because you've proven you can do it, what should be the consequences?
Okay.
You must together come up with the consequences. And if it happens, you must go through with it. Now, people will come up with different consequences. Some might say there will be a divorce. Some might say something else. Whatever it is, because if you don't set consequences in place, I'm sorry, there is a likelihood.
Will reoccur.
As the story is telling us, is serial. This is somebody who keeps doing what he says, I am not going to do. Is it because there are not consequences? And also, one thing that is quite difficult is people kind of click at different times. So this serial cheater, one day will wake up and go, what the hell am I doing?
Yes, you're right.
Without anybody prompting him. He will just wake up one day and go, what am I doing?
Why?
And overnight,
He will change.
So as much as there are consequences, it's a really complicated one. And it's just time and I think maturity. But I think we must all be aware of what relationships entail. Like, I know for one, when I was marrying, as much as I knew that I have to be faithful and all of that, traditionally, if my great-great-grandfather was allowed to marry multiple women, if my religion allows me to marry multiple women, what stops me then from doing that? So I think the tradition, the culture, your moral upbringing, it's a really big, but that conversation needs to be had during courtship.
Right.
To set the boundaries.
Wow, that's
before
amazing.
You get into marriage.
Thank you so much, Nakwame and Precious. That is an interesting, insightful conversation. I mean, if you're listening out there, please, cheating is not the way to go. If you're not happy in a relationship, talk to your partner about it, whether you're in a relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's partnership. If you say you're committed to this one person, make sure that you are committed to that person, because it could be a very devastating, impact on the other person when these things, cheating comes out in a relationship. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any topic that you want us to discuss, like this lady sent her email, feel free to send me an email to hearttoheartchatshow@gmail.com, hearttoheartchatshow@gmail.com. You could also find me on Facebook, Heart to Heart Chat Show, on Instagram, Heart to Heart Chat Show, and on Twitter, Tips from Ajua. And we'll come you again sometime very soon. Thanks. Bye.
Heart to heart, soul to soul, let's speak our minds and make it plain. I'm here for you, you're here for me. Together let's stand.